Good evening, Facebook. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Live. Make sure that you take a moment. You see, this evening we have a very important segment that we're going to be talking about, the Tequila Beverly story, wrongfully convicted, and we have some special guests with us on this evening. So it is an honor and a pleasure always to join you guys. And we pray and hope that while you're here with us, that any questions you have, feel free to ask those questions, because we want to make sure that we answer it thoroughly on this evening. And let me take a quick moment and bring our guest up for the evening to say good evening. Hello, hello.
Hi. Hello.
All right. And
Hey,
so
how everybody doing?
we have Lady Kathy Clark, and we have Christopher Smith, who is Tequila's brother. They're joining us on this evening. And Christopher, I wanted to tag you. I'm asking everybody who's joining us, take a moment and share this. I did see some who have already shared. Thank you, guys. We're on a different day, but I thought this was so important. This was such an essential conversation that we have. Thank you, Montoya, for tagging Santana in this. I thought this was so very important that I wanted to get on as soon as we can. So I got with Lady Kathy Clark, and we found this date available, and we said, let's make it happen and make it happen quickly, because when I saw this, guys, it just went through me. And this is something, if it were my sister, someone I love and know, I don't want a day to go by without someone who can make a difference. I don't care if we're just a drop in the ocean. If we can make a ripple, we want to make an impact. And so I'm grateful to be able to have at least those who would tune in and listen to what's going to be shared on tonight. So what I want to do is I'm going to share a little more. But Christopher, Lady Kathy Clark, thank you guys for being here. And I want to take a minute and let you introduce yourself to everyone and let them know who you are and why, Lady Clark, in your instance, because Christopher, I'm going to ask you about your sister, who she is, before we get into that story. But Lady Clark, take a moment and let some who don't know you know who you are and why this was so important for you. So I'm just going to bring you up and let you do that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Tasha, for this invitation to share your platform and to get Tequila's story out. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kathy Clark. I am an activist. I don't mind standing on the front lines of injustice and fighting for others, making sure that their voices are heard. And I've done it for Trayvon Martin. I've done it for George Floyd. Eric Garner, Sandra Bland. And surely, if I can stand for justice for those who are wrongfully killed at the hands of police, surely I can stand for justice for someone who is dear to me. Now, I wasn't close to Sandra Bland and all the other names that I called out, touch me because, I see injustice, but because Takia is dear to me, her family is dear to me, her mom is dear to me, even Chris, her brother on the line, I was his second grade teacher. So I'm highly invested in this family. I'm highly invested in this cause. And it's like a no brainer. I was catapulted, on this. On the front lines of this movement because of my love for them and for the fact that I know that Takia is innocent. And so I could not stand by on the sidelines and watch this act of injustice being carried out. Not just on in reference to somebody that I don't know, but somebody that I do know and I hold dear. She's a friend of my daughter's friend, and they went to school together. And I remember them going up and down the hallways at Rowan and just being just innocent little children. And so, I'm invested, not just from an activist standpoint. You guys know me; I'm a fighter, and so that's why I'm here. That is why
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes, and that is so very important. Lady Clark, one thing I admire about you and I'm so very thankful for is that when that passion from God hits you for a particular thing, then you are there. You are plugged in. And this is no different. To have someone like you who we can depend on to fight for the right reasons is just essential to us in our communities right here in South America, in Mississippi. So God bless you and thank you so very much for all that you do. Christopher, I am my first time meeting you, but your story is going to impact for generations to come. And I hadn't had a chance to chat with you because we were busy getting ready to come on. But I'm going to get to know you a little bit more. But I want you to introduce yourself to everyone and let them know who you are and who Takia is to you.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Christopher Smith. If I like laugh or anything, it's because I'm a goofy person. So I smile at everything, I laugh at everything. I'm just a happy type person like that. But I am someone who loves people. I love fighting for what's right, and I love standing for what's right. Besides that, I'm into fitness. Like I'm a huge athletic person. I love working out every day. I'm into politics. I love speaking out on black issues as well as issues within the world. And I'm someone who loves music. I have a huge love for music and the art of music and what music stands for. So those are some things about me. I'm not too much of a complex person, but my ultimate goal in life is to help the world and help people throughout my process in this world. So that's enough about me. But the main reason we're here, of course, is for Tequila. So Tequila Beverly is an angel on earth. To see her going through the things that she's having to experience has been very traumatic for me, to say the least. Being that that's my sister, not only is that my sister, I've seen her go throughout this process as an adult, and it's been one that I would say that the fact that she's still able to stand and fight for herself is amazing. She's clearly, forged by fire, and she's continuing to go. She's an amazing person. I mean, her attributes. She's an LPN. We all know she's a nurse. She's a great wife, great mother, raised in the church, continues to go to church. Most people fall out of church by the time they're an adult, when they turn 18, but Takia continues to go. She continues to go, and she continues to pray to God daily. So, I mean, not to just say she's a perfect person, but she is the ideal woman. And also, when it comes to baby Jurayah, she loves baby Jurayah. That's her baby. And as she calls her, that's her first baby. And it always will be.
Yes. And Christopher, one thing that I saw was interesting, and we'll talk about this a little more, is that what I read was Takia took the stance of not telling her story before the trial. And so a lot of people were able to get their own opinion, not having told her story. And so we know the outcome, and we'll talk about that. But now you guys have really kind of taken the charge to step up on your sister's behalf and tell her story. Why is it so important to you to make sure that this side of the story gets out now?
Well, primarily we chose to do what was right and follow the law. The law said that we not speak out publicly about an ongoing case, that we keep all the information to ourselves, and that we follow the judicial process. It failed us ultimately. That's why we're speaking out now. We did everything right, specifically to Kia. Personally, I wanted to speak out. I wanted to fight back. I wanted to put everyone that was speaking negatively on my sister in their place, of course. But Takia wanted to do what was right, follow the legal grounds, listen to our lawyers, do exactly what was asked of her, and that I think that's what hurts so most. I mean, so much, and it hurts the most that she did everything right, and it still ended up biting her in the butt. And it goes to show you that you can be a good person, you can do everything right through life, and you can still go through traumatic and terrible, dire situations. And I think that's very tough. So me speaking out about my sister and us as a whole speaking out about my sister, it's not about us wanting attention like some people are just wanting to, get some type of financial benefit. It's about getting the truth out. And that's the only thing I want to do. And I'm sorry, not only get the truth out, but rectify this wrong in situation.
Yes, yes, so very important. And I want to show this short clip, and then I want us to talk about what happened, where this happened. And I'm so adamant about us taking our time this evening, and I know we'll go within our time frame, but I really, this is real life. This is a young woman whose whole life has just absolutely in the last 3 years been, it's been through so much. And then you go to court and you feel like your innocence is standing in front of you and is going to speak for you, and the sentence that comes down is just unbelievable. So let's just take a look at this clip real quick.
It's been more than a week since a Claiborne County woman was charged with capital murder for killing her stepdaughter. Tonight, her family claims she is innocent, and they say she was wrongly convicted. Quentin Smith speaks with the family and has more.
The hashtag says, I stand with Kia. Her family is now using this as a rallying cry, trying to fight for her innocence.
I know my sister's innocent because she loved Jurayah. I know my sister's innocent because she would never hurt anyone like that. I know my sister's innocent because I know her character.
This incident dates back to 2017 when 14-month-old Jurayah Smith passed away. Tequila and her husband Morris, who's the toddler's father, were accused of committing the crime. In court this month, investigators said Jurayah received multiple blunt force injuries to her head and that she was killed while in custody of Tequila and Morris. After her conviction, Tequila was sentenced to life in prison without parole. However, family members say she doesn't deserve that sentence, and they claim there's no evidence connecting her to the crime.
They stated that the skull fractures had bleeding and that it could have been up to 8 days prior. That bleeding was old and that healing had already occurred. Multiple doctors stated that. The day before Jurayah passed away, Jurayah had been passed from 3 homes. Jurayah's older cousins had Jurayah before the time of death. It's clear that, no one was thoroughly investigated besides Tequila. And throughout their investigation, they find nothing tying Tequila to that death besides the circumstantial piece of evidence that the child passed away in Tequila's home. That's all they have.
We reached out to the district attorney, Daniela Shorter, asking for a comment on these claims. At this time, we're still waiting to hear back from her. Meanwhile, Morris Bevily was scheduled to stand trial this past week for his murder charge, but it was postponed. Shorter did not specify why the trial did not start.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack there. So yeah, what we recognize, what I see right off, and I do see you guys putting that hashtag up. Let me say this as we start the conversation. Lady Clark, we're here because your credibility speaks volumes with me. And this story, after having read it, Chris, and looked through the page, it just really moved my heart. And I will be very frank as we start the conversation to say that there are people who stand on the other side of the conviction. They think that it is correct and they believe that that was the way to go. And I'll say this, when I did the post, I did have someone to put some comments under it in support of the conviction. I did not remove those. And the reason why is because what it did to me when I read it is I went to the page. I went with I Stand With Kia page to see what was there in correspondence to that. And I was enlightened. You understand what I'm saying? They had on one end what a report said, but on the page it had what the original report actually was that showed that Kia was not responsible for it. So those are the kinds of things we have to work through the information and make sure that we are thorough with it. So before we start, why don't you, maybe Chris, you can tell us who is Jiraiya so that everyone understands who this precious baby Jiraiya is.
Oh, well, Jurayah Smith is pretty much like a ball of sunshine. I didn't get to know her for a long, extensive time, but I will say that the time that I did know her, she was a beautiful, beaming baby. I mean, really was the epitome of a love child. Like she just was loving, smiling, happy, happy-go-lucky child, pretty much. And she meant the world to my sister, and she meant the world to my brother-in-law. They both loved Jurayah, loved and loved. They care for her dearly, and they still do.
And I know that this has been heartbreaking for the family overall. And Lady Clark, when you heard about this, what went through your mind when you heard about? You knew the situation, but we worked up to the conviction. So what went through your mind?
Well, back in 2017, when Jurayah first passed away, my daughter, she came in and she told me, about the situation, and I sent up my prayers, but it went to the back of my mind because I never thought we would be here today. That was the furthest thing on my mind was foul play, something that went terribly wrong in that home. And so I was very, naive with everything. I told her, say, let Tequila and her husband know we're praying. I'm sorry about it. And it went away. It literally went away and didn't resurface back in my mind until 2019 when the charges, came about. So because when I heard about it in 2017, I know Takia's character. So I never questioned that. Even those who challenged me on the news pages on WLBT, I remember somebody making a comment saying, what if she's guilty? I said, but I'm gonna ride with the home team. I'm gonna ride with what I know. They were trying to get me to say, well, I don't know Takia that well, and you just never know what somebody would do. And I get that, but I'm riding with what I do know. I can't handle what I don't know. So I rolled and I put my last dollar on what I know about Takia and her family, and that's what I stood on, and I will forever stand on that. I'm going by what I know about Takia. So when it first happened, I just put it in the back of my mind until 2019 when they were charged. I'm like, wow, we are really in for a ride right here. But I still trusted her truth. I trusted her truth. I trusted what I knew about her.
Wow.
So
Yes, that's so important, and that goes a long way. Relationship goes a long way. And so, Chris,
mhm.
would you take a moment and help us to understand what charges were brought? Because we know Takia has been convicted, and there were charges brought upon her and her husband. I don't think a lot of people realize that. But even on the clip, it said that they chose not to continue on with the court hearing. So, kind of catch us up to speed and help us to understand what the charges were, and how what that looks like, and it was toward both of them. Help us understand that.
Well, so originally, Tequila and Morris Beverly were charged with capital murder together, and they were supposed to be tried together. So they were looking at either life or the death sentence, and primarily they were going to receive the death sentence, which is insanely crazy to contemplate giving that to someone that you know is innocent. But that's the justice system that we're in. We're also in Mississippi. But so in continuation, the month before trial even happened, they were separated. They were supposed to be tried together, but randomly they were separated, and they decided they were going to try Tequila first. So okay, they move forward. They convict Tequila, unfortunately, and of course illegally. But randomly they decide to postpone Morris's trial, which and he was supposed to be that direct Monday after the Friday Tequila was convicted.
Okay, so with that being done, oh wow, let everyone know what her sentence was.
Well, Tequila was sentenced to life with no parole.
I imagine that that's hard for me to hear. I can't even imagine what that's like for you guys to. Um,
Can I be completely honest?
that's look. Let me tell you something. We do this platform, and our hashtag is real talk for a real walk. I mean, if I'm giving you the space, the opportunity, and the time to make
Mhm.
sure that you say what you need to say, that's very important. So please be very frank and be very open and honest.
Well, there were two different instances. There was when I heard guilty, and there was when I found out the sentence. Guilty definitely held more weight on my heart than the actual sentence. I already knew what the sentence was going to be for the crime. I was already expecting that. So it wasn't like a detrimental factor to my feelings or to my heart. I already knew that. So it's kind of like, it wasn't like a whatever, but it was like I know that was going to happen. Like I already expected this. This is nothing new. I will say that it was extremely disrespectful for them to give that to her when they know she's innocent. And people will ask, well, how do y'all know that she's innocent? How do I was in court. I was in trial every day. I heard what was said and I heard what wasn't said. So that's what it was. That's how I know, and that's how the people in charge know as well.
Right. Kathy, anything you want to add to what has been said? I'm just, you guys, I have to be honest, this is the more we're talking about it, it's just really, it's so moving to me because Christopher, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
I have siblings. You understand, Lady Clark? I have siblings.
Yeah.
And something like this happening that is beyond your control, your reach, is devastating to me mentally in this moment. So, my heart goes
Right.
out to you. But Lady Clark, what do you have to say?
I must say that it's an eye opener because Takia could be anybody. And I'm sure that there are more Takias out there who've been wrongly convicted of a crime that they did not commit. And so that could be myself or my daughter or my sibling, getting caught up in this corrupt. I'm going to use the word corrupt, this corrupt system. And so it was a shock to even hear the guilty verdict, knowing the details and having knowledge, being privy to the testimony that took place Monday through Friday, being privy of the evidence. It was a major shock. And I think we pretty much let our guards down because and we sighed a sigh of relief because we just knew that her truth was speaking. And so a lot of people are saying, why now? Why are you guys just not coming out with the pictures and the photos? Well, as Chris stated earlier, Tequila held us off. She's like, y'all, chill out. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna speak my truth. There's nothing that can ever point to me to say that I've ever harmed Jurayah. And so we sort of relaxed a little bit. I'm like, if Tequila's that confident, then we're just gonna, follow her lead. And she led us to just stand down. And that stand down, it delayed us. I won't say that it was that detrimental. It delayed us because she's coming home. It's just God had her on a journey. He has her on a journey for a bigger cause. We may not know what it is. She is on a mission for the King. So, it put us in a position, and we talked about it. We're not just haphazardly putting things out there, putting out content. We're strategically thinking about it, and we're telling her truth. We're telling her story. She can't speak from behind the walls. We are her voice, and it's mandatory that we tell her story, and that's what she has told us to do. And we're gonna fight telling her story. So what you see on the I Stand with Takia's page, it is Takia's story. And we're open, we're transparent. We don't have any private and fake pages. It is all open. And we're going to continue to say, if we're wrong about something, let us know. Inbox us and tell us to clear it up. But we want to put the facts out there. And so what we're seeing is a lot of things being put out on the other side that's missing a lot of the context. So we're trying to bring it all into context with testimony, with reports, with evidence, and make it all make sense. And that's our goal, is to make it make sense to the people who are scratching their heads just like we are. And our hearts are hurting and their heads are hurting.
Yes. I have been, let me read this comment. This is Lisa Forneret, and forgive me if I didn't say your name properly, but Lisa says, I pray this get resolved and this young lady gets justice. The real murderers get the real charges they deserve, while the mother and baby was on TV smirking because Kia was charged. Brother, I'm so proud of you speaking out for your sister. Keep your drive alive for your sister. Y'all be heard and y'all will get justice. Someone will step up and seek her justice. Wow. Lavender Hibbler said, make it make sense. And so that's why we're having this conversation, because we're doing just that. So you and let me say this: I have been certainly not for this kind of reason, but I have worked through the court system all the way up to the Mississippi Supreme State Court in a case involving something different. And I'm telling you, I know what it's like to have evidence that is clear as the sky, and you can get in court and it's not about the evidence, it's about what the idea to convict is. And so those kind of situations, I can stand and say, yeah, sometimes you have to stand up for what you know is right, and it takes a lot of time and energy, but right is right. That's the bottom line, and that comes with integrity, standing on it. Yes, please.
Can I add to that? A lot
Please.
of people are saying, well, if the evidence was so overwhelmingly in her favor, how did a jury of 12 convict her? And so my thing is this: when you have jurors who don't take that role seriously, they don't take it with heart. Things like that happens, and I feel like that they it was just another day at the office for them. And so to see them render a verdict in 30 minutes was bizarre to me. There was no looking at evidence. They didn't pull any more testimony. They didn't discuss. It was like their minds were already made up. And you're talking about a capital murder case. It's not a parking ticket that you're trying to decide here. This is somebody's life in your hands, and you're not taking it seriously. I feel like they failed us. They failed at their duty as a citizen to be, even on that platform. That's a powerful position. Somebody's life is in your hand. That is a powerful position. You cannot take that lightly. And that's what they did. I'm just going to call it for what it is. They did not take it seriously. It was all a game and a joke, I'm assuming, from the rendering of that verdict with all of that evidence.
Right. And this happened in what courtroom?
Claiborne County, Port Gibson, Mississippi.
So for those of us who are
Population of
watching,
population of about 1,200 plus citizens.
wow. Whew, that's a big decision. Someone's whole life rendered
Yeah.
gone.
Yes.
Someone says she was an outsider to them, so she didn't matter. They said, but God, but God. We know God is God. Okay. So, Christopher, now at this point, what is the plan, or what is going on, or what is happening in regards to Kia's case, in regards to just the overall situation? And at the end of the day, one thing that I do applaud, and like I said, I understand, and I see the comments, you guys, and everyone's not going to agree with what is being said, but this is important that this is said tonight, and that's okay with us. But for people who are watching and listening and wanting to get an understanding, where is it now? What's happening at this point?
Well, before I answer that question, let me go back to what you just said. I really don't care about the negative comments or what people have to say against my sister. They don't know my sister. If they do know my sister, they clearly have a hate for my sister, or already a biased hate.
Right. And
And
there
the
and there
negative
I
things that
haven't
they have to
seen
say
that.
is false.
Right. I did see some people who were just concerned, maybe with some emojis. So I haven't seen any negative thing that was said. And I do agree with you. And we don't stand for anything. This is so not about that. So, we got your back. Lady Kathy and I, we have your back. You're here to speak on behalf of what
Thank
is
you.
important. So you
Thank
don't
you.
even have to worry about that. So I understand your heart on that. Yeah.
No.
Thank you. Just clarifying. Thank you so much. So when it comes to where we are right now with the process, of course we're gonna move forward and file for an appeal. and hopefully get an appeal bond. Now we know the appeal bond is not a likely thing to get with the circumstances, but we have faith in God and we're going to continue to fight for Tequila no matter what. And regardless of what happens, we're going to fight until she's home, and that's just a
Yeah.
fact. No matter what happens, no matter what is said in any courtroom, Tequila is coming home, and that's just a fact.
Yeah. Yes.
No matter how long it takes, no matter what I have to do, no matter what we have to do, Tequila is coming home.
Yes.
Yes. Lady Clark,
And to anyone,
yes.
that thinks we're going anywhere, that we're just gonna post for a couple of days and then we're gonna die out, that's none of that. Every day is gonna be about my sister.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Someone says, Kimmers Jones said, exactly, because if you knew her, if you know her, then you'll know how sweet she is. I didn't realize how strong she was till she got
Mm.
in this messed up situation. Wow. Lady Vivica Hughes Williams, she's sending hearts and love. And so many are hashtagging I stand with Kia. And Beckford Favorite says, yep, she is coming home soon. So many stand with that.
Yes.
If are there any questions that you have heard asked or anything that's been said that you want to clarify, Lady Clark or Chris, in regards to this? And someone says, did they do a lie detector test? Tisha asked, did they do a lie detector test in this case?
Well,
Uh, Go ahead.
so to a clarification, Takia immediately asked for a lie detector test when they told her how the child had passed away, how Jurayah had passed away. She asked for one, clear as day. Did she get one? Of course not. Was she willing to take one? Of course she is. Of course she was. So
Mhm.
she was denied that fact. She did. She had no problem with taking one. Also, another clarification that needs to be stated, they called 911. People continuously say, oh, they didn't call 911. Why wouldn't they call 911? After Takia immediately woke up her husband after finding Jurayah unresponsive, Morris immediately called 911. There's phone records of that.
Mhm. Exactly.
Wow, what? That's a wow.
Yeah.
So that's verified, and others are saying that she asked. Listen to that. She asked for a lie detector test, was denied getting
That
that
was
test. She
shown in
begged
court,
for
by the
that.
way.
Oh my gosh! And
That
that was
was that was
presented in
shown
court.
in court.
Hmm.
Lady Clark.
Yeah, I just want to add that to what Chris stated earlier. A lot of times you'll find us having to debunk a lot of untruths, and we don't mind doing that. It does, it sort of sets us back, but we know people want answers. It is a confusing and a mind-boggling situation. So we're finding ourselves trying to debunk things such as a 911 call. The biological mother has put out conflicting statements that has people wondering, and we're having to try to clear things up. And we're spending a lot of time doing that, but we don't mind. And the 911 issue is just one piece of that puzzle. And then the question about, was Morris really there? There was no testimony that came out, even in the interviews with the detective, that Morris was not home. The biological mother has not stated that he was not home when she arrived that night of the tragic incident. So, lies are being told, and we're trying to present the truth as best as we can. So it may not be to someone's liking, but it's the truth. And so we'll forever stand, like Chris said, we're not going anywhere. I want people to know that we are one and we are many. Okay.
Right.
And that's not just Chris, it's not
Right.
just me, it's a whole army. Okay. You may not see them all, but we're just the face of it. But we are one and we are many. And guess what? As we don't sleep, and that's okay. We it's the changing of the guard. When somebody gets tired and fatigued, we pass it off. But there's a whole army across this nation, not just in Hattiesburg, not just in Mississippi. So best believe that there's a whole army that has their hands on this movement. And we want to say kudos to you guys from Atlanta, from South Africa, all over California, Detroit. We have a machine that's ready to make sure that Takia comes home. So don't be mistaken about that. I just want to keep it clear.
Yes, and people are tuned in from many places, and they are chiming in and saying just the same. So with the location, would you explain why? Because I did see that it was not granted to be moved from Port Gibson. Why would it have been important to have seen this trial moved from Port Gibson?
I mean, the list goes on and on. Again, a population less than 1,300. That's insane to even have a capital murder trial in a city with a population less than 1,300. That already doesn't make sense. Everybody in the city would already know each other naturally. Takia, of course, is clearly the outsider in that situation. She doesn't know these people. These people don't know her, and these people have been spoon fed lies for 3 years straight. Every day they hear a lie about Tequila. Every day. So every day in their mind, they hear another lie, another lie, another lie. So when it came down to being a jury member, oh, I've heard the same thing for 3 years. I'm not going to listen to what they say in court. I'm not going to adhere to the facts, and I'm not going to adhere to my duties at hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to vote how I want to vote against Tequila. And I don't care. I don't care about her. I don't care about her family. And something that Miss Clark mentioned was, this is one life, and I agree. But this is a lot of lives. Takia has kids. Takia has a husband. Takia has a life. Takia has a family. It's insanely crazy to throw away all of that on a lie, a big lie that has spun out of control that could have been stopped. That's unacceptable.
Wow. That's well said. Reverend Wesley Preston in Atlanta, Georgia, he said the jury pool was tainted. There is no way possible that you could find an impartial jury in a
Yeah.
town that small, especially after 3 years of floating rumors. That
Yes.
I have one more thing to say. I'm sorry.
please no
No,
speak
go
Oh,
up.
you
ahead.
can go, Miss Clark. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go
To
ahead.
be clear, we know for a fact those jurors are new. The biological mother even made a video stating it would be like a needle in a haystack finding a person from this county that has not heard about this case, that has not heard about justice for Jurayah. So they haven't really heard the facts. They've heard one perspective for 3 years. She stated that. She knows that. But instead of doing what was right and letting this be pushed forward in another county or another city, even, they were going to let it sit there and let Takia suffer and throw her
Right.
away like trash. But we are in Mississippi where they do that every day.
Right, right. And just to piggyback off of Chris, there are some people who were, on the campaign for the movement, as the biological mother calls it, justice for Jiraiya. And guess what? We're on that campaign too. We still want justice for that precious baby. So make no mistake about it. I feel like we can do both. We can stand with Takia and seek justice for Jiraiya. So I want to make that clear as well. But a lot of people are a little angry with us, and understandably so. I get it. They're like, this is the only narrative that we've heard for 3 years. We knew no other facts. We knew no other side. That was all we were spoon fed. And so, even with the jurors, they were able to download that information in their subconscious. So, I mean, they own that. If all they heard was guilty, 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 it was easy for them to write on that paper guilty because that's all they knew. Like Chris said, regardless of the facts that we're hearing, we've just heard this one side. And so, we do apologize. But again, we were trying to err on the side of just justice being, uh, you know, working in our
Right.
favor. And,
Right.
and it did, so, but here we are. But that's okay. We're learning every day. Every day we're learning something new. It's a learning process for all of us. And so, we've met new friends, new people, so found out new information. And so we're going to not only free Takia, but this is going to help a lot of other people.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And talk to us. You guys take a minute because I understand that there were conflicting autopsy reports. So help us to understand that. Give some clarity in regards to that.
You want me to take it first, Miss Clark?
You can take it. I'll piggyback off of you. Sure.
Okay. So there was first a preliminary report given out. specifically about that preliminary report, those are not full autopsies. What that is, that's like a partial guess done by a coroner. So what that it's like a preface to a book, basically. So you get some information, but you're not getting all the details. You're not getting everything that really happened. You're only getting a partial part of the full spectrum of the situation. So that preliminary report stated two things. It stated that it was a homicide, and it stated that the baby died from blunt force trauma. Um, Again, that's just a preliminary report. You don't know all the information. You're just giving basically an educated guess at what you think, not at what you know. You haven't looked at the tissue slides. You haven't looked at the full spectrum of the body. You haven't looked at everything needed to make a final opinion. That final autopsy from the first pathologist, mind you, that same pathologist is not working currently. He's been put on leave and eventually had to leave for other reasons. So, of course, clearly his word is incredible anyway, on the full spectrum of the things. But that final one, it stated that he could not rule out asphyxiation. So you really don't know how the baby died. Your word is not clear because you don't know how the child clearly died. His word was not good enough, so they had to go get another pathologist, Dr. Nichols. Now that's where things get a little bit more tricky because now you have so many different doctors and things are, it's a lot at that point. It's really a lot and it can get kind of confusing. So you have to be careful. And if you're not
Yeah.
careful, you're going to be misled by the things that you hear. Now,
Right.
his report findings kind of matched up, but it was slightly different. It was different until he got the final report that came out the week before trial that vindicated Tequila. That week before trial, he sent out his final reporting and it completely said that I was wrong. I was wrong about it. I didn't look at the tissue slides yet. Tequila actually didn't do it because it showed signs of healing. It wouldn't be possible to show that if the child had already passed away. And not even just that, when looking at it, it can be up to 8 days previous.
Right.
And let me be specific about something. You're going to hear about contusions. You're going to continuously hear the word contusions. Contusions, contusions, contusions. That's a fancy word for bruises.
Bruise. It's a
Bruises.
bruise.
It's a bruise. It's a
Yeah.
bruise.
Yeah.
A bruise is not going to kill a child, but let's be clear, that same bruise didn't even happen in the care of Tequila.
Right. Chris, just to piggyback off of you, we'll go back to Dr. Levon. Dr. Levon did the original autopsy report. Okay, mind you, that's again, like Chris stated, he was under investigation, and he actually resigned on January the 29th, the day that the verdict came down for Tequila. But anyway, let me tell you about Dr. Levon. Even with this autopsy report, let me tell you what it didn't have. It didn't have a time frame. All right. It did not say on Saturday
Not at all.
between the hours of 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock, Jurayah sustained injuries and she died. There's nowhere in his report. And also, number two, Dr. Levon, a lot of people are calling him corrupt. I don't know if he was corrupt or not. I do know he was consumed. Consumed with what? A lot of autopsies. There was a backlog of autopsies that had not been performed. He was overwhelmed. Okay, he was totally consumed. So maybe he missed something. Maybe his diagnosis, even in the preliminary and the final, was off. Based on his workload. From the law and the requirements, you go into some type of probationary or some type of disciplinary action or lose your accreditation when you perform too many autopsies in a year. I think the limit is like 250. He had done what, 1,400? If I'm not mistaken,
Way
that's a
over.
lot.
Way over.
He was
Way
way
over
over
the
his
amount.
autopsy limit. So let's just start there. And not only that, he was under investigation. The biological mother, even in one of her live videos, she was like, it was taking them a while to get the Jiraiya's autopsy back. Maybe she was putting pressure on that office. I don't know. But she herself even complained about how long it was taking for them to get an autopsy. So that's Dr. Levon, the state medical examiner from Mississippi. Okay, mind you, I just told you he did not have a time frame, which is very important in this case as to when Jurayah sustained her injuries. Dr. Nichols, who did not do an autopsy on baby Jurayah's body, he only looked at the reports from Dr. Levon and came up with an opinion. In his opinion,
An
this
opinion.
is what he thinks. Okay. So, and I think I've cleared this up once before. You're going to hear people say, well, in his opinion, he stated that in the testimony, he stated that Jurayah died between 10 o'clock after leaving the hospital with her parents and 5 a.m. that morning when the EMTs got there. If you take his report, and his report states a time frame without taking his testimony into consideration, you're in error. You're really playing into the hands of injustice. Because I tell you what, the report has to be coupled with his testimony. And on the witness stand, after finding out that he was withheld, some information was withheld from him from the prosecution side, his whole time frame analysis would have been out the window. And again, I'll repeat it. This is what he said on the stand. He said, I can't tell you based on this new information whether Tequila injured Jurayah, whether Morris injured Jurayah, or any other adult who was around Jurayah. I can't pinpoint anybody. I thought that was a no-brainer. The case was a wrap. But here we are. Tequila's not home. That should have
Right.
ended that whole trial.
Right. That
So they want to float around these reports in the absence of the testimony that he had to recant that explains why he wrote the report the way he did. That's just so unfair. And that's deception, and that's intentional deception because you're not giving the whole truth.
Right. I think one of the main things is, so we all know baby Jiraiya is no longer with us. We
Right.
understand that there were injuries to the baby and we want justice for Jiraiya. So I think Amber said it so right here. She said the baby was passed by several individuals. Why is Tequila the only one being questioned? And for me, I think that comes down to the crux of it. Why is Takia the only one being questioned in the matter?
You want me to go first? You got it.
Go ahead,
Please.
Chris. Roll it, Chris.
And how thorough should I be?
As
As thorough as
thorough
you need
as,
to be.
yes.
Okay. Well, Tequila was the only one investigated for clear reasons. Again, like I stated earlier, she was the outsider in this situation. She was the easy target, and kind of, she was the scapegoat in the situation. If we can all point our fingers at Tequila, nobody will point their fingers at us. So it'll be so easy to just let Tequila take the fall, and all of us, reap the reward of not getting in trouble for the crimes that we actually did. As far as the investigator, if you go to the I Stand with Kia Facebook page, today we posted an interesting picture with an interesting caption that states that the investigator, the main investigator over the case, he's actually family friends with the women that had Jariah the day before she passed. Clear conflict of interest, right? But let me go a little further. Danielle Skinner, Ebony Skinner, and Antoinette Skinner are the women that had Jariah the day before she passed away. Those women are family friends with the investigator over the case. Those three women are the same women, are the only women to testify against Takia in court. Those are the same women that had Jariah within the time frame that she could have died. And due to the doctor's testimonies, those are the same women that could have possibly harmed Jariah. So the same women that could have possibly harmed Jariah, that's family friends with the investigator, are the same women that testified against Takia. So
Yeah.
I don't think I have to make it any clearer of a reason of why anyone else wasn't investigated.
Lady Clark, would you like to add anything? This is mind
Well,
blowing.
it's just clear and cut. Takia being the outsider. Morris is from Port Gibson. His family is well known. Um, you know, and even now, they're celebrating justice has been served when you have another so-called perpetrator still out there. So it's been served in their minds because they've gotten who they wanted. So
Okay, well,
there's no more
let
live
me
videos saying that they
let
want justice.
Lady Clark, let me slow you down, so because I know some may not understand exactly what you're saying. I get it because we've been talking from the beginning.
Mhm.
So explain why
Mhm.
you made that comment, because Tequila was not the only one originally charged. So you're saying they're now ready to
Right.
take a rest because,
Right.
and because there were two charged in the matter.
Right, right. So, yes, the voices that we were hearing before trial, we don't hear those voices anymore. And as a matter of fact, I think there was a page that says justice is here or something to that effect, meaning that, hey, we've gotten what we wanted. We've gotten justice for Jurayah. Now we can move on with our life. It's over with. And they've forgotten about that there's another, individual who still has to stand trial for a capital murder of Jurayah, which is so bizarre to me because if in the first trial, the same perpetrator was asleep supposedly convicted the wife. What are you going to do now? Is he now awake to murder and harm his baby? I mean, it's just not adding up. It's just not making any sense. So we have not heard that rallying cry for justice now that Tequila has been locked away. And so this narrative of her being jealous of baby Jurayah and all of that, let me clear this up. Her rejection of the infidelity during the time that she was engaged with her husband does not automatically spell her rejection of the infant. She rejected the infidelity, not the infant. And I feel like, anybody with common sense knows that those two can coexist. Okay. She rejected the infidelity, but she accepted Jurayah with loving arms. And I'm a female, lady. Tasha, you know how we are as women. Yes, it's okay to say we're hurt. I don't think we need to come down hard on her because she said this issue hurt me. Even in her statement with the investigator, she said, I was hurt, but we prayed and I chose to stay. She said, I made the choice to stay. Nobody forced me to stay in my marriage. I made that choice. Jurayah didn't deserve it, and I didn't deserve it. Those are her statements. So I know that, from a woman's perspective, it's okay to hurt. That was a situation that was painful, but she accepted Jurayah as her own, and the proof is in the pudding. I mean, it shows. It shows her binding with that Jurayah. I won't say that baby. Her binding with the baby is just, it was beautiful. So yeah, she did not reject the baby.
Okay. Well said. There's so much to be said. Let me do this. I always like to take just a quick moment, make a couple of announcements, and we're going to come back. And I want you guys to just kind of take the floor, whatever you feel like you need to say, and whatever points you need to make. I just see, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. So many comments are coming in, and we try to engage, and of course we can't in this time frame, but they will be there and can be responded to at will. So we appreciate that. But for those who do tune in with us, and we have a page and all, just a couple of announcements. We'll be back here on the 22nd for our pastor's chat with Pastor Sam Alexander and Pastor Valerie Bass Russell and Pastor Gregory Partman. So that's always fantastic. And also we're going to have some ladies in the house, the ladies of the churches, Lady Alexander and Tradina Leonard and Nicole Robinson. So we're looking forward to having a conversation about life and love, well balanced living. And so we have just wonderful guests who be with us all the time. And we encourage you guys to come in for real talk, for a real walk. And look, if you know someone who can't catch us on Facebook, we're on Twitch TV, we're on Periscope, and we're on YouTube. So you can log in and catch us on those particular ones. And for those who plug into 3 Dimension Consulting, thank you guys so much. We're here to serve you, and we appreciate you. And I always invite you to go to Amazon if you need a good read. So many great authors. And then I do have some books there as well. All right. And the Black History Moment. You guys know this is Black History Month, and we celebrate being black and beautiful, being strong and powerful. And I thank God for his grace over the black history. It is his story to tell. So keep all of that in mind. Thank you guys so much. So what I want to do is take these few minutes and make sure that anything that you want to say, I don't want to put any kind of blocks up. This is so necessary of a conversation, and I don't want you to feel cheated in any kind of way on what needs to be said. So please share your heart in the matter, and speak to us about what is on your heart and mind.
Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry, that looks so crazy. I'm trying to fix that. um, I mean, hey, first I would like to thank everyone that continuously say, good job, Chris, for protecting your sister. Good job. It's good to see. To be honest, just to be completely honest, I appreciate that so much, but I'm really not doing anything that I wouldn't do for any of my siblings. I love my siblings and I love my sister. Me and my sister growing up, we were best friends, and I still consider her best friend. But that was pretty much like my second mom overall. And my sister Nene, but I love all my sisters and my mama. But my sister Kia was just definitely like a best friend to me. So this definitely has taken a toll on me. But I'm not doing anything special. I feel like I'm really just doing what's right. I mean, when you see injustice, you're supposed to stop it. When you see something wrong, you're supposed to fix it and make it right. I'm just doing what's right, and I'm following my path through God. I appreciate Him for putting me on this path. I unfortunately I hate my sister had to be the sacrificial lamb in this situation, but I'm not gonna stop fighting for her. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what a brother's supposed to do for his sister. This is what a good human being is supposed to do for another one. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's a good person saving another good person. That's what we're supposed to do as people, as human. And if we don't have humanity anymore, if we don't have the ability to critical think anymore, then we're already lost as a people, and that's not okay. What I would like to tell Black people in general, like the Black community, I have the most love for the Black community. I want the Black community to thrive. I want us to take over. I want us to thrive as a whole and be at the top like we're supposed to be. And when I say at the top, I don't mean over anyone because we all should be equal, but we're supposed to take our place in life. The way we have handled this situation is terrible. You're As people, I don't see other races doing this to each other. I don't see the white race. I don't see white people doing this. I don't see Mexicans. I don't see anyone doing this to each other but us. We tear each other down without knowing all the facts, and that's not okay. When you hear a situation, it's okay to talk about it, share it, but when you publicly speak on someone, why should you put your mouth on? Because that's not okay, especially when you don't know anything. That's not okay. Don't do my sister like that because she hasn't done anything to anyone. And particularly my sister, she's never spoken out negatively publicly about anyone. You won't find it because you can't find it. But all these people have so much to say negative, and it's so uncalled for. Now, it's one thing, to feel like she did it, but it's another thing to completely disrespect her and try to tear her down. I think that's completely deplorable, and you should do better as a person and as a people. In continuation, keep my family in your prayers. Keep my sister in your prayers. This is just the beginning. I'm not gonna again. I'm not stopping fighting for her. That's not gonna stop. There won't be a day where you don't see me post about my sister until she's home. That we're just getting started, really. Yeah. About this situation that my sister is in, I want to make this clear because people, there won't be a day where something come out and they be like, "Oh, Chris lied." There was no evidence presented in court against Tequila. There was no evidence presented in court against Tequila. There was none. That's why the whole week, they say we laughed and played and stuff and all that other stuff. That's not true. But what we did do, we were in a good mood and a happy feeling through God because we knew no evidence pointed to Tequila. Every day it showed that she was innocent. Every day it further showed. Now it was one day where I was like, oh, what was that about? That was the day Dr. Nichols testified. But do you know his entire testimony was taken away basically because he clearly lied, and that he was persuaded by the prosecution. If you look at it and what it's going to say in the transcripts, he says specifically that if I would have known all the information from the prosecution, my testimony and my findings would have been different. They withheld information from him. They intentionally railroaded Tequila, and that's not okay. And that's why, as a people, we must stand with Tequila. And that's just a fact. And whatever a naysayer have to say, that has nothing to say with the facts that we have and that we're presenting. We don't say opinions. We don't say things that's not true. The only thing we say the facts, and that's it. and I stand with Kia.
Mm. Wow. Oh wow. I'm just,
Awesome, Chris.
yes, that was so beautifully said. Um,
Okay.
Lady Clark.
Um, I will, address the naysayers. We welcome you on this broadcast. We don't run, we don't hide. So we see you. But those who are, perhaps maybe not on either side. We're not asking you to choose sides. That's not what we're about. We're not. It shouldn't even be that way. It's about right and wrong. So pay attention to what they don't say. Okay, stop listening to what they're saying and pay attention to what they're leaving out. It's crafted that way for a reason. So it's time for the public to start asking questions. Ask those hard questions, and we're going to try to answer them. And I feel like we have answered them to the best of our ability, and we respect that and we welcome that. So follow our page, hop in our inbox. Many of you have already started doing that, and we've tried to respond and to answer your questions. But for those who just want to be a naysayer and just slander, start asking them questions. I'm going to redirect you back to them. Ask them those hard questions, and if they can't answer them, then you know the truth. Okay, so I just wanted to lay that out there as a disclaimer. Ask them those hard questions. What about Takia? Her truth and her kindness, it cost her. Okay, Takia was good to people in Port Gibson. Okay, she was good to Danielle. She was good to Deidrona. All right, and that's just a proven fact. Her kindness cost her, and so when I'm not advocating for not being a help to those who need you, but it's just an awareness. Be aware that sometimes it can come back to hurt you, and but because she was in a position in that town where she's the outsider, it came back to hurt her. So I also want to end with lifting up Mama Audrey, her mom. She's going through a hard time right now. She's not having a pity party, but she's concerned about her baby, and she's also taking care of her mom who's ill in the hospital. So she has a lot on her plate. And so we want to keep her lifted up in prayer as well, Pastor Tasha. So that's all that I have to say. I'm going to say like Chris, I stand with Kia, and I encourage you to catch step with us to continue to stand with her. And we do appreciate all of our supporters who've been so kind to us during this journey.
Yes, Chris, give me just one quick second. And when I come right back, someone asked, did the father take a plea? So I'll let you guys answer that. But give me just one quick see here. There is a page, and I did see an inquiry about that. So there is a page, and yes, this is it here. So if that is something that you wanted to know about, I stand with Kia. It is on Facebook, and I think it has maybe about 17,000 followers now. So if you're interested in that page, you can go and join the page and stay up to date with information. Okay. All right. So please, yes. Go ahead, Chris.
So first, I can answer that question that you posed. So we stated it earlier in the video, but they might have just caught it late. But Morris's trial was postponed for a reason that we don't know. We can't answer that. If you want to find out the answer, you can call, Claiborne County. But as far as a direct answer, I can't give you that. He did not take a plea. But what he did do was, stand with his wife. He still does that. He loves his wife. He loves his family, and that's my brother, and I love him. I continuously get this question of where's Morris, or how do you feel about Morris? I love Morris. My family loves Morris, and we stand with Morris just like we stand with Kia. That's not changing. What I will also say is Ms. Clark made a great point. She said, ask them the questions and see what they don't say. Look at what they don't say or what they don't bring up. Something that people have not paid attention to is, have you ever heard what happened, like what Kia did to Jurayah, what she used, what she did, what time she did it at? Have any of those questions ever been answered? Have you ever seen them state that? No, you haven't, because they don't have that. It never happened, so they can't answer those questions. There was no murder weapon. There was no blood. There was no clear sign of bruising. There was none of that. But continuously, somehow, people say Tequila did it. And I can't understand for the love of me, for the love of God, really, how they can come to that idiotic conclusion with no proof. I mean, it's really crazy. It's really based on the circumstantial evidence of the fact that the child passed away in Tequila's home, Jurayah. But no murder weapon. They don't know how she did it, what happened when she did it. None, you go ask those people those questions and see what answer you get, because they can't answer it. Not only can they not answer it, it also wasn't answered in court. The prosecution couldn't even state what happened or what was used. And to be clear, the detective on the case, he even stated he didn't think anything had happened. The pediatrician, Dr. Danielle, that testified stated that at the time of death, Jariah was in no distress. She was a child that slept away in her and passed away in her sleep. These are all facts. I mean, provable by court documents. But hey, again, I stand with Kia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Pastor
And
Tasha, if I can
look,
add this as well.
take your time and add whatever you guys need
Okay.
to. I'm not
Um,
rushing this at all.
when they go when you visit the I Stand with Kia page, there is a petition. Actually, there were two petitions that were circulating. We do ask that you sign both of them. One petition is to the Attorney General's office, so please, we need those signatures, you guys. Also, you will find Cash App information and a GoFundMe uh, um, link as well. The GoFundMe is for the children only, for Five and Aubrey. So that's what that's for. The Cash App is for the legal funds. So we know that it's going to take legal counsel, and so we're asking you to please visit the page. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram and Facebook. Follow us and keep up, what's going on with Takia's case. And again, I stand with Kia. Thank you, Pastor Tasha, for giving us this opportunity to speak and be the voice of Takia.
Please,
I don't
Chris.
think I thanked you. I don't think I thanked you the entire time, and I want to apologize for that because that's not who I am. I didn't try not to, but I would
We
love. I
we were
would like
trying
to
to get
thank
on
you.
and get situated,
Well, we were
and
trying to
we
get it
know the
right. We
heart.
were trying to get it
So
right.
no,
But
don't
I do
even
want
be
to say
worried with
thank
that.
you. Thank you for allowing us to come on your platform and speak the truth for my sister, and I very much appreciate it. I thank you.
Well,
Thank
you
you.
guys are very welcome. I just I'm really touched by just the whole situation, and it's just not good to have to be here. Period. And you know, I just, like I said, for me to be able to have conversations, I always say if it comes up, we can talk it out regardless of what side you stand on. And I've known Lady Clark for some time, and Chris, meeting you is a pleasure. I must be honest and say my heart is so overwhelmed in this matter, and what I know is that God has a grace for everyone's situation that they go through. So it's hard for my mind to wrap around it, but I'm trusting in the grace of God for justice in this whole matter. So my prayers are going to continue with you all, and I know so many watching, we're going to pray. And I would say to those who don't agree with this side, and that's understandable. That's going to happen in life. What we do have is human decency toward one another, and we do have God that we can pray to and depend on. And this is not an easy situation. I'm not making light of it, and I'm not saying it's emotionally easy. So what we can do as a community, and I think Chris said it, is we have to have respect for one another. We do have something beyond ourselves, and that's prayer and the love of God. And I'm telling you, Jesus makes the difference. He did in my life, and he can for anyone at any time. And the Bible says it doesn't matter who you are, whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And I always say that's whosoever, whensoever, wheresoever, in whatsoever state you find yourself, God is available. So when we leave here today, I understand, we're not be on the same page, but we all are compassionate for baby Jurayah and for the families who have been affected, because it's far reaching And for those who are standing up and standing in the gap, our prayers are with you as well. So, Christopher, I don't have accurate words to say to you. And I'm really just so touched because, like I said, I have siblings. So I couldn't even imagine daily. I couldn't even imagine, we all have walks that we have to go through. And may God's grace continue to keep you. And Lady Clark, I love you and I appreciate you so very much. And when we depart from this, we won't depart in heart. And you all know how to reach me. And I thank God for giving us this platform to be able to talk about it. So I'm going to let you guys say your final words. And when you finish, then we'll get ready to step off. But not before you finish, though.
Chris.
Well, first, since this is my final word, again, let me thank you one more time, Miss Tasha, for allowing me to come on your platform, as well as Miss Clark, and speak for my sister. I appreciate that. I've never publicly thanked you, Miss Clark, for everything that you've done for my sister Tequila, and the way you've stepped up and kind of been a mother figure to both of us in the last couple of weeks, primarily, but through our entire lives. You were my second
Wow.
grade teacher, but I just want to publicly thank you for really stepping up and showing the love that you have for me and my family. That means the world to me, and I really appreciate that. You and Falia, and also I want to thank people think it's just me like doing everything. It's not just me. Like there are people that are like behind the scenes helping me do the things I do. And I would like to publicly thank those people and for them to get their acknowledgement. Yes, I'm working hard for my sister. Yes, I dedicate every day for my sister. But I'm not in this alone. God wouldn't make me go to war alone. And he's given me a lot of warriors that don't mind fighting any time of the day. So I thank God for that. I thank God for allowing me to have the chance to fight for my sister and giving my sister the chance and the strength that she has. I don't think people understand how strong Takia is. Like she's innocent, right? Like she's clearly innocent, not only because I know my sister, but because what was stated in court. And she's still fighting every day, even without her children in her care at this point. She's still fighting. She's still strong, and she's not standing down. She's not laying down and taking this, just like I'm not. And my final thing would be every day until my sister is home, I will be standing with Kia.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, Chris, thank you for those kind words. I want to say and piggyback off of you again, and they're on the line. I'm not going to call their names out, but thank you, team. You know who you are. They are awesome. I tell you, our phone never sleeps, y'all. I'm serious. So I thank you, team. We love y'all so much, and our words just can't express our gratitude for your diligence. And I will say this for Takia's behalf, and as she was selecting those who could speak with media and be interviewed, she handpicked. She was like, if I want Chris, I want Miss Clark. I don't want no crying people. She don't want nobody shedding tears. A lot of people, they're trying to figure out why she's not boohooing and why she's not toppled over and with so much of emotion. That's just Takia has a lot of strength, and she didn't want us representing her in an emotional way. So she handpicked who could speak for her. And so she knew Falia would be a crybaby. She knew her mom was a crybaby, but she figured me and Chris, we can handle it. So thank you, Takia, for trusting us, to speak to the media and to speak on platforms such as this. So she's a strong young lady, and I have gained a lot of strength just from her. She is strong. So y'all keep her lifted up in prayer that angels are surrounding her, wherever she is, and that God shows her favor with the inmates, with the guards, whoever, that she's just surrounded with angels. They're taking care of her. And so y'all keep her lifted. And I think there's a way to write to her. So just reach out to our page, and I think there's an address that we can give. So she'd love some letters. So y'all send her some love through mail, okay? But again, thank you, Pastor Tasha. And those who are on, I saw we had about 300 and something viewers. Thank you guys for jumping on this evening talk show. Thank you.
Yes. And if you guys need to ever come back and do an update, just let me know and we'll make it happen. All right. Well,
Okay, thank you.
what a rich conversation. What a conversation that needed to be had. So we are getting ready to exit now. Thank you guys. And you sure? Have you said everything you need to say? All right. Well, viewers, thank you guys so very much. We appreciate you. And we speak blessings upon each and every one of you as well. We say good night to all.
Good night.